What would you do if the father who let his wife treat you like absolute garbage for 10 years suddenly called you crying, begging for a second chance? You're the kid who got a pack of socks for Christmas while your stepbrothers unwrapped brand new bikes. You're the kid who lived in a converted storage closet while your dad just watched. Now, 10 years later, his wife has left him, he's all alone, and he wants you back. But when you finally agree to meet him for closure, he brings her with him. This is a complete start-to-finish Reddit saga from Best of Updates. Timestamps are below, but trust me, you are not going to want to skip a second of this. Final post, posted to r/true off my chest. My father, 51 male, who let his wife treat me like garbage for 10 years, wants to meet me, 26 male, now that she left him. I don't know if I should go. My dad let his wife mistreat me for my entire childhood, never once stepped in, chose her and her kids over me every single time, and now that she's gone and he's alone, he wants to reconnect. I've been no contact for 8 years. He left me a voicemail last week crying. I don't know what to do with it. I'm Reed, 26, just outside Raleigh, North Carolina. I'm an aircraft mechanic at a regional maintenance facility. We service turboprops and small jets, inspections, engine overhauls, avionics troubleshooting, structural repairs. If you've ever been on a commuter flight and the plane didn't fall apart, there's a chance somebody like me signed off on it the night before. It's detail work. Everything gets documented. Everything gets checked twice. I like that about it. There's no room for opinions or feelings in maintenance logs. Either the part's within spec or it isn't. Either the system works or it doesn't. Simple. I make decent money. Not rich, but comfortable. I've been saving since I started working at 19, and I don't spend on stuff I don't need. My buddy Fletcher thinks I'm cheap. I think being broke is worse. Fletcher's also important to this story. We met at the maintenance facility. He's been there 6 years longer than me, and he's the guy who taught me that you document everything. Every conversation, every decision, every interaction that might matter later. Paper trails don't have feelings, he says. They just tell the truth. That stuck with me. I should probably start at the beginning because the beginning is where it all went wrong. Grandma. My mom got pregnant at 19. She and my dad were together maybe a year, not married, not serious, just young. When she told him, he wasn't ready. She wasn't either. They split before I was born. Mom kept me for the first couple years, but she was struggling. Working 2 jobs, no support system. She was overwhelmed, and she made a decision that, honestly looking back, was probably the right call at the time. She asked my dad's mother, my Grandma Ruth, to take me. Grandma raised me from about age 2 until I was 7, and those 5 years were the best years of my childhood. Small house on a side street in Fayetteville. She had a garden out back with tomatoes and peppers and these sunflowers that were taller than me. She'd let me help water them before dinner. We had a routine: school, homework at the kitchen table, dinner, one show on TV, then bed. She read to me every night until I could read to her instead. I remember the first time I read a full page out loud without stopping, and she clapped. Actually clapped, like I'd done something amazing. She was strict but warm. The kind of person who'd correct you without making you feel small. When I messed up, she'd say, "We don't do that, baby," and explain why. Never yelled, never hit, just steady, present. She made me feel like I mattered. Then she had a stroke. I was 7. She survived, but she couldn't take care of me anymore. Needed full-time help herself. That meant somebody had to take me, my dad, Victor, and the boys. By the time I moved in with my dad, he'd been married to a woman named Colleen for about 3 years. They had the house, the routine, the life. Colleen had 2 sons from her first marriage, Tyler, who was 10, and Bryce, who was 8, close to my age. You'd think that'd make it easier. It made it worse. From the first week, I could feel it. There were 2 tiers in that house. Tyler and Bryce were on one level, and I was on another. Lower. Way lower. Tyler and Bryce got new clothes for school. I got Tyler's hand-me-downs and stuff from the donation bin at church. Colleen called it being practical. Tyler and Bryce's rooms had posters and shelves and the stuff kids care about. My room was the converted storage area next to the garage. No window that opened, one overhead light that buzzed, a mattress on a metal frame that Colleen said was perfectly fine. The favoritism was constant, and it was loud. Colleen didn't even try to hide it. Tyler and Bryce could leave dishes in the sink, and nobody said a word. If I left a glass on the counter, I'd get a lecture about respecting the household. Tyler could stay up late on weekends playing games. If I was up past 9, Colleen would stand in my doorway and just stare until I turned the light off. Didn't say anything, just stared. That silence was worse than yelling, honestly. She'd make comments, small ones that added up. Well, Tyler and Bryce have been here since the beginning, like I was some stray who wandered in. Your dad already does so much for you, like feeding me was charity. I don't know what Ruth was teaching you, but that's not how we do things here. Using my grandma's name like it was a bad word. The worst part wasn't the big stuff. It was the little things that told you where you stood. Colleen packed lunches for Tyler and Bryce every morning. Sandwiches cut diagonal, a bag of chips, a juice box, sometimes a note. I packed my own. She said it was because I was old enough to learn independence. I was 8, same age as Bryce. Bryce got a note in his lunchbox. I got independence. She never came to a single school event for me. Not one. Parent-teacher conferences, my dad would go alone if he went at all. Half the time he forgot. Tyler and Bryce had both parents at every game, every recital, every open house. I sat in the auditorium during 5th grade awards and watched every other kid walk back to their family's table, and I walked back to an empty chair. My teacher noticed. She gave me a ride home that night. Didn't say anything. Just drove me home and watched me go inside. I think she knew. And the thing about my dad, the thing that still burns more than anything Colleen ever did, is that he saw all of it. Every single bit. He was right there, and he did nothing. I'd look at him during dinner when Colleen would make some sideways comment about me, waiting for him to say something, anything, and he'd just keep eating. Or he'd do this thing where he'd change the subject real fast. Like if he pretended it didn't happen, then it didn't. One time Colleen told me I should be grateful I had a roof over my head because not every kid in your situation gets this. I looked at my dad and his jaw tightened. I could see it. He knew it was wrong. But he just took a sip of water and asked Tyler about his baseball game. Every single time. There was this one Christmas, I was maybe 10, where Tyler and Bryce woke up to bikes under the tree. Nice ones, the kind with gears and handbrakes. I got a pack of socks and a book about planes, which honestly, the plane book turned out to be the thing that got me into aviation, so maybe there's some irony there. But at the time, at 10 years old, watching two kids who aren't even your dad's real sons unwrap bikes while you hold a pack of socks, that does something to you. Colleen got worse as I got older. The comments turned into rules that only applied to me. I had chores. Tyler and Bryce didn't. I had a curfew that was 2 hours earlier than theirs. I couldn't have friends over. Not enough space, even though the house had 4 bedrooms. When I made honor roll in 8th grade, Colleen said, "Well, you should be doing well. You don't have anything else going on." When Tyler got a C+ average, she threw him a pizza party. My dad was there for all of it, watching, saying nothing, choosing Colleen every single time because keeping her happy was easier than protecting me. He was a coward. I loved him, and he was a coward. I tried to earn it. That's the part that hurts the most. I tried so hard to be good enough, studied harder, stayed quiet, did my chores without being asked, thought maybe if I was perfect enough, they'd treat me like I belonged. I wasted years on that fantasy. Getting out. When I was 15, a woman named Gloria showed up at one of my school's open house events. She was a friend of my grandma Ruth's from their old church. Hadn't seen me since I was little, but recognized me. Said I looked just like my grandma. Same eyes, same way of standing with my hands in my pockets. We talked for a while. She asked how things were at home. I gave her the rehearsed answer. Fine, everything's good. She didn't buy it. Gloria was sharp, the kind of woman who listens to what you're not saying more than what you are. She came back to the next school event, and the next one. Started checking in, nothing pushy, just present. Brought me lunch once at a park near school. Sat on a bench and asked me real questions. Not, How's school questions, real ones. Eventually, I told her the truth. Not all at once, in pieces, over weeks. The storage room, the hand-me-downs, Christmas with the socks, Colleen's comments, my dad's silence, all of it. She listened without interrupting. When I was done, she reached over and squeezed my hand, and her eyes were wet, but her voice was steady. Baby, I need you to meet somebody. That somebody was my Uncle Warren, my dad's younger brother. They'd had a falling out years ago, something about money and the family house after Grandma's stroke. Warren had been living in Durham, about 2 hours away. He didn't know what was happening to me because my dad had cut him off from the family, told Warren I was fine, told him Colleen was good to me. Warren believed it because that's what you do when your brother tells you something. You believe him. Gloria connected us. First phone call lasted almost 2 hours. I didn't even know what to say at first. Here was this guy who sounded like my dad, but warmer, asking me real questions and actually listening to the answers. Warren was angry, not at me, at his brother. He told me you were fine. He told me Colleen was treating you right. I believed him because he's my brother. I shouldn't have. I'm sorry, Reed. I'm so sorry. Over the next few months, Warren and I built something. He'd drive down on weekends and we'd get lunch at this diner off the highway. He met my teachers, talked to my guidance counselor. He was putting together a picture and the picture was ugly, but he never once tried to rush me into a decision, just showed up, kept showing up. That was enough. The week before my 17th birthday, I decided to leave. I'd been thinking about it for months, not in a dramatic way, more like planning a move, logistics. Warren had a spare room. His wife Jackie said I was welcome. My guidance counselor helped with the paperwork. There were forms you could file at 16 in North Carolina if you had a willing relative and documented cause. Warren handled the legal side. I just had to tell my dad. I waited until a Friday night. My dad was in the living room watching TV, same chair he'd been sitting in for 10 years. Colleen was on the phone in the bedroom laughing about something. Tyler was out. Bryce was in his room gaming. The house sounded the way it always sounded, alive everywhere except where I was. I sat down across from my dad and turned the volume down. I need to tell you something. He looked annoyed, like I was interrupting his show. What? I'm moving in with Uncle Warren. His face changed, not angry, scared, like he'd been waiting for this moment for years and hoping it wouldn't actually come. His hands gripped the armrests. You can't just... I've been living in a storage room for 10 years, Dad. Your wife treats me like I'm something she stepped in. You've never once told her to stop. Not once. I've counted. Not one time in 10 years did you stand up for me. He opened his mouth, closed it, opened it again. I used to think if I just tried harder, you'd pick me. If I was quieter, if I got better grades, if I did every chore without being asked, eventually you'd choose me over her. But you were never going to. You chose her every time. And you're going to choose her right now. I can see it on your face. Reed, it's not that simple. She cares about you in her own... Yeah, it is that simple. You either stand up for your kid or you don't. You didn't. So I'm going somewhere where I don't have to earn the right to exist in my own house. He sat there, hands on his knees, staring at the floor. Colleen's voice was still going in the other room, laughing about something on the phone. No idea what was happening 10 feet away. I went to my room, packed a bag. Warren was parked at the end of the street. I walked out the front door and my dad was still sitting in that same chair in the same position. Didn't follow me, didn't call my name, didn't try to stop me. That was the last time I saw him for 8 years. Now I'm 26. I live with my fiance Nadia in an apartment in Raleigh, work at the maintenance facility, making good money, got promoted to lead inspector 6 months ago. My boss said I was the most detail-oriented guy on the floor, and he wanted someone who doesn't cut corners on anything. I told him that's what happens when you grow up in a house where you have to earn the right to exist. You learn to do everything right the first time. He didn't know what to make of that. I smiled and went back to work. Warren and his wife Jackie are like parents to me. Sunday dinners, holidays, barbecues in the summer, all of it. His daughter Lily is basically my little sister. She's 19 now, in college, texts me memes at 2 a.m. that I don't understand but pretend to think are funny. Warren taught me how to change a tire, how to file taxes, how to shake someone's hand like you mean it. All the stuff my dad should have done and didn't. I built a life, a real one, with people who chose to be in it. 3 weeks ago, I got a voicemail from a number I didn't recognize. It was my dad. His voice was shaky, Older than I remembered. Smaller. Reed, it's your father. I know it's been a long time. I need to talk to you, son. Please. Please just call me back. I'm sorry. Sat in my truck in the parking lot at work for 10 minutes just staring at my phone. Here's what I found out through Gloria, who still keeps tabs. Colleen left my dad about 5 months ago, ran off with some guy she met through her job, took Tyler and Bryce with her, cleared out half the house. My dad didn't fight it, just let it happen. Same way he let everything else happen. Now he's alone in a house that's too big, working a warehouse job he hates, with no wife, no stepsons, no family around. The woman he chose over me every single day for 10 years chose someone else over him. And suddenly, after 8 years of silence, he wants to reconnect with the son he threw away. I haven't called him back yet. Part of me wants to. The kid in me who spent 10 years trying to earn his love still wants him to say the right thing. Just once. And the grown man who walked out that door at 17 knows he never will. Those two versions of me have been fighting about it for 3 weeks. Edit. People saying I should ignore him completely, I hear you. But it's not that simple when it's your dad, even a bad one. The kid you used to be doesn't just disappear because you grew up. Edit 2. Warren knows about the voicemail. He said he'll support whatever I decide. That man has never once told me what to do. He just shows up. Every time. So his dad watched a woman mistreat his own son for 10 years. 10 years. In a storage room next to the garage. Getting socks for Christmas while the stepsons got bikes. And he just sat there every single day, choosing the quiet option. And now Colleen's gone. She left him, by the way. He didn't even leave her. And he's alone, and suddenly Reed's phone rings. It's been 8 years of silence, and now Dad's crying on a voicemail. I wonder what changed. Oh, right. Everything around him fell apart. Funny how that works. Let's see if Reed meets him. Update 1. Posted 5 days later. Update. My dad, who let his wife mistreat me for 10 years, wants to reconnect now that she left him. I decided to meet him. Here's what happened before the meeting. Lot happened in 5 days. Here's the update. Quick recap. Dad let his wife Colleen treat me like garbage for 10 years. Never stepped in. I moved out at 17 to live with Uncle Warren. Went no contact for 8 years. Dad's wife recently left him, and now he wants to reconnect. I got a voicemail. Here's what I did. Talking to Warren night after the voicemail. I sat down with Warren and his wife Jackie after Lily went to bed. Told them everything I was feeling. The anger. The part of me that still wanted my dad to be a dad. The fear that I'd go meet him and end up getting hurt the same way I always did. Warren listened the whole time. Didn't interrupt. When I finished, he rubbed his face and said, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I will say this. If you meet him, don't go looking for the apology you deserve. Go looking for the answer you need. There's a difference. One you can control, the other you can't. Jackie said something simpler. Take Warren with you. Whatever happens, don't face it alone. So that was the decision. I'd meet him, but Warren would be there. And I'd go in expecting nothing. What Gloria found out called Gloria the next day. She'd been keeping loose tabs on my dad's situation through old church connections and people in the neighborhood. She's retired now, but she's still plugged into everything. That woman knows what's happening on every street in a 10-mile radius. Here's what she knew. Colleen had been seeing some guy for about a year before she left. My dad either didn't know or didn't want to know, which honestly tracks. The man's whole personality is ignoring uncomfortable things and hoping they resolve themselves. She moved out in February, took the boys, took furniture, took money from a joint account. My dad didn't contest any of it. Tyler, the older stepson, apparently called my dad once after the split, asked him for money. My dad sent him $500, never heard from him again. Bryce didn't call at all. And then Gloria told me something I didn't expect. My dad had been calling around for the last couple months, trying to find my number. He'd called Gloria, called old neighbors, even called my high school trying to get forwarding information. He was looking hard. Gloria also said, and she was careful about how she said this, that she'd heard my dad's health wasn't great. Nothing critical, but he'd aged badly, wasn't taking care of himself. The house was falling apart. He was working a warehouse job and barely keeping up. I didn't feel sorry for him, but I didn't feel nothing either, and that bothered me more than the anger did. Setting it up. I texted my dad from a new number, kept it simple. This is Reed. I'll meet you Sunday at noon. The grill house on Glenwood. Warren will be with me. Come alone. He responded in about 40 seconds. Thank you, son. I'll be there. I'll be alone. Thank you. The speed of that response. 40 seconds. 8 years of nothing, and then 40 seconds. I stared at it for a while. Nadia asked me that night if I was sure. I told her no. She said that was the right answer. Being sure would be weird. Just go hear what he has to say, and then come home. I love that woman. Fletcher at work asked why I was distracted on Thursday. Told him the short version. He leaned against the wing we were inspecting and goes, "People don't change. They just run out of options. Keep your guard up." Then he went back to checking rivets. That's Fletcher. Says something that stays with you for a week, and then goes back to work like he commented on the weather. Sunday was 3 days away. Longest 3 days of my life. Edit. People saying I shouldn't go at all. I hear you, but I've spent 8 years with a door closed, and I need to know what's on the other side. Even if it's nothing, even if it's worse than nothing, I need to know. Edit 2. Warren bought a new shirt for the meeting. Said he wanted to look respectable in case he has to tell his brother off in public. I love this man. Warren bought a new shirt for a restaurant meeting where he might have to tell his own brother off. That is the most Uncle Warren thing possible, and I'm not even surprised. Also, Fletcher with the "people don't change, they just run out of options" line while inspecting rivets, that's going on a t-shirt. That's a bumper sticker. That's a life philosophy delivered over an airplane wing. Anyway, Sunday, restaurant. Let's see how this goes. And I'm going to be honest, I've got a bad feeling about this one. Update 2, posted 3 days later. Final update. I met my dad after 8 years of no contact. He brought someone he promised he wouldn't. It went exactly how you'd expect. Last update. Here's what happened Sunday. Getting there. Woke up at 5 a.m. even though the meeting wasn't until noon. Just laid there staring at the ceiling while Nadia slept. Ran through every possible scenario in my head. He apologizes and means it. He apologizes and it's fake. He asks for money. He blames me. He cries. He's cold. He's the same guy. He's different. All of it. Warren picked me up at 11. He was quiet on the drive. About 10 minutes in, he looked over and said, "Whatever happens in there, you've already won. You know that, right? You got out. You built something. He's the one who lost." We got to the restaurant at 11:45. Crowded. Good. That was intentional. Public place, lots of people, no room for a scene. I asked for a table near the back where we could see the entrance. He wasn't alone. My dad walked in at 12:05. I saw him before he saw me. He looked older, a lot older, thinner, hair mostly gray. He was wearing a button-down that didn't fit right, like he'd lost weight and the shirt hadn't caught up. For a second, I felt something. Not sympathy exactly, more like recognition. Like seeing a building you grew up in and realizing it's smaller than you remembered. Then I saw who was behind him. Colleen. Colleen walked in right behind my dad. Same woman, 8 years older but unmistakable. She was scanning the restaurant like she was looking for somebody, looking for me. My dad told me he'd come alone. I told him to come alone. I put it in the text, and he brought the woman who made my childhood a living nightmare because she told him to. Because she asked and he said yes. Because that's what he does. That's what he's always done. Warren saw her the same second I did. I heard him exhale through his nose. Slow. Controlled. That's Colleen. Yeah. He brought her. Yeah. Warren looked at me. Your call. We can leave right now. Say the word. I should have left. Every smart person in the comments is going to tell me I should have left. But something in me, the same stupid something that spent 10 years trying to earn this man's love, made me stay. I needed to see how this played out. One last time. They spotted us. My dad's face did this thing, half smile, half panic, like he knew he'd messed up but was hoping I wouldn't notice. He walked over with Colleen trailing behind him. Reed, his voice cracked, thank you for, you brought her. He stopped. She wanted to come. She thought it might help. Help what? Help who? Colleen stepped forward. Read, I came because I think there's been a lot of misunderstanding over the years, and I want a clear misunderstanding. I said it back to her flat, just the word hanging there. Warren stood up. Not aggressive, just stood. And Warren is 6 feet 2 inches and built like somebody who used to play football because he did. He looked at my dad. You told the boy you'd come alone. He set one boundary. One. And you couldn't even do that. My dad started to stammer something about how Colleen just wanted to make things right and how family should be together. And that's when Colleen's mask came off. Same way it always did. Same switch I'd watched flip 100 times growing up. She turned to Warren, and her voice went up about 3 levels. This is your fault. You took him away from his father. You poisoned him against us. He was fine before you showed up and filled his head with... Fine? Warren's voice was dead calm, scarier than yelling. He was sleeping in a storage room. He got socks for Christmas while your boys got bikes. You told a child he should be grateful for a roof over his head. That's fine to you? People were looking now. The tables around us had gone quiet. A couple near the window was pretending not to stare and doing a terrible job of it. Colleen's face twisted. I treated him like my own. I fed him, I clothed him, and he repaid me by running away and turning everyone against. You fed him hand-me-downs and leftovers and made him feel like a guest in his own father's house. Warren didn't raise his voice. Didn't need to. And his father sat there and watched. He looked at my dad. My dad was standing with his hands at his sides and his eyes on the floor. Same posture, same silence, same man. 10 years ago, it was a living room chair. Now it's a restaurant. Nothing changed. Not one thing. I stood up, picked up my jacket, looked at my dad. I gave you one rule, come alone, and you brought her because she told you to, just like always. His eyes were wet. Reed, please. You had 10 years to choose me. You had 8 years of silence to pick up the phone and say you were sorry. You didn't. And the first time you reach out, you bring the person who hurt me because she asked you to, because it was easier than saying no to her. I pulled my keys out of my pocket. I came here looking for an answer. I got one. Walked out. Warren was right behind me. We got to the truck and sat there for a minute in the parking lot, engine off, windows up. I wasn't crying. I thought I would be, but I wasn't. Just empty. Like finishing a book you've been reading for years, and the ending was exactly what you expected, and you're not surprised, but you're still disappointed somehow. Like you kept hoping the author would change it at the last second, and they didn't. Warren didn't say anything for a while. He started the truck and pulled out of the lot. About 5 minutes into the drive, he goes, "He was going to bring her the whole time. You know that, right? She probably told him to call you in the first place." I hadn't thought about that, but the second he said it, it clicked. Of course. Colleen's marriage, or whatever she was doing, fell apart. She came back to my dad because that's what she does. She goes where the support is. And she needed a project, something to prove she's a good person. Reconnecting my dad with his estranged son would make her look like the hero of the story instead of the villain. She wasn't there to apologize. She was there to rewrite history, and my dad let her, because that's what he does. About halfway home, Warren goes, "For what it's worth, I'm proud of you." For what? For not needing him anymore. Sat with that for the rest of the drive. After blocked my dad's number that night, and Colleen's. Changed my number the next morning just to be clean about it. Gave the new one to the people who matter. Warren, Jackie, Lily, Nadia, Fletcher, Gloria. That's the list. That's enough. Nadia was on the couch when I got home. She'd made soup. The good kind. The one with the roasted tomatoes that takes all afternoon. She took one look at my face and just opened her arms. Didn't ask what happened. Didn't need to. I sat next to her and we didn't talk for about 20 minutes. She just rubbed my back and let me be quiet. That's the kind of person she is. She doesn't try to fix it. She just stays. My dad tried calling from 2 different numbers the next day. I didn't pick up. Then Colleen sent me some long text from a number I didn't recognize. I know it was her because it started with, "I think you owe your father an apology for how you acted. I owe him an apology for walking away from the woman who made my childhood miserable. after she showed up to a meeting she wasn't invited to, and the man who was supposed to protect me let her come. I didn't read the rest, screenshotted it, sent it to Fletcher because I knew he'd appreciate the audacity. He responded with one line, "People don't change, they just run out of options. Told you."
Yeah, Fletcher, you did.
Gloria called me the next evening. She'd heard about the restaurant from someone who knew someone. I told her the whole thing. She was quiet for a long time. Then she said, "Your grandma would be so proud of how you turned out, baby. She didn't raise you those 5 years for nothing." That one broke me. First time I cried through all of this. Not about my dad, about Grandma Ruth, about sunflowers taller than me, and someone who clapped when I read a whole page out loud. About the only person who chose me first and didn't need a reason. Where I'm at, apartment, is quiet. Nadia's across from me right now, studying for her nursing boards. She's got highlighters and index cards everywhere, and the table looks like a craft store exploded. I like watching her work. She's focused the same way I am on a turbine inspection. Total concentration, no shortcuts. Fletcher and I are doing a side job this weekend. Guy's got a vintage Cessna he wants us to look over before he flies it to a show. Should be fun. Fletcher already packed a cooler and 2 folding chairs in case the inspection takes longer than expected, which is his way of saying we're going to sit on an airfield and eat sandwiches for 3 hours. Fine by me. Warren texted me this morning. Just, Sunday dinner. Jackie's making the ribs. Lily says she's bringing her new boyfriend, so prepare to be overprotective. Normal stuff. Family stuff. The kind of text you get from people who don't need a crisis to remember you exist. Oh, one thing that bugs me. When I left my dad's house at 17, I left behind a photo album, Grandma Ruth's. She'd put it together over the years. Pictures of me as a baby, me in the garden, the 2 of us at church, my first day of school. She gave it to my dad for safekeeping when she got sick. I asked about it once, years ago, through Gloria. My dad said he couldn't find it.
I think about that album sometimes, about whether it's in a box somewhere in that house or whether Colleen threw it away. Probably never gonna know, but it bugs me. Anyway, got a good woman, got good people, got a job I'm proud of. Life's good. Edit. People asking about Nadia. She passed a practice exam yesterday and did a victory lap around the apartment. She's going to be the best nurse in North Carolina, and I'm not taking arguments on that. Edit 2. Warren update. He wore the new shirt to Sunday dinner, too. Jackie told him he looked handsome. He said, "I know." Lily's boyfriend seems fine. Fletcher says I should run a background check. He's joking, I think. And that's where this one ends. Reed's dad had 10 years to be a father, 8 more years to pick up the phone, and the one time Reed opened the door, his dad walked through it with the exact person who slammed it shut. Because she told him to. Because that's who he is. People don't change. They just run out of options. But Reed's got Warren, he's got Nadia, he's got Grandma Ruth's voice somewhere in the back of his head reminding him he was worth clapping for before anyone else even noticed. He doesn't need his dad anymore. He just had to walk into one more restaurant to finally believe it. So if you enjoyed today's story, go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, all the links are in the description below. Thank you guys for watching, it really does mean a lot, and having said all that, I will see you in the next one. Peace.